Welcome. We're back. It's episode 2 of tier ranking every single title reign from the year of 2023. So today, in part 2, we're going to be doing all of the tag champions of the year. We've already ranked Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven as well, and Finn Balor and Damian Priest, our current champs. However, we haven't gone back and looked at all of the former champs we've had. Now, for example, the Judgment Day have had 2 reigns, but I'm just going to kind of group them into one because I don't want to keep putting the same picture in a bazillion times. So we're going to interpret both of them and kind of put them together and see overall which is good. So if you have a 4 out of 5 and a 1 out of 5, it's probably going to be about a 2.5, 2 out of 5 on average. But let's get started. So we are going to start with the women's tag champs and Dakota Kai and Io Sky Damage Control. This reign was actually really good. They had some solid matches around, and it helped build up Dakota and Io as actual stars. And if Dakota hadn't gotten injured, she could be very well at the level Io is already. So I'm actually going to put this reign up in A, right next to Io, matter of fact, because it was a good reign, and it ended poorly, which we'll get to in a minute. But it showed off the talents of all involved, Bayley included. And while the heel trope of, oh my goodness, the babyface, crossroads, oh, they're about to win, 1, 2, then the ref gets pulled out of the ring. The ref's like, oh, what's going on? And then the babyface loses. It's a little stereotypical, but it works, especially with Damage Control. Back to that bad reign ending, Lita and Becky Lynch. I don't know why I said it with a southern accent. But this reign, it really didn't need to happen. It was really only there to give Lita a title for fun. It was mediocre, and Becky didn't really need it. Lita didn't really need it. And Lita just kind of disappeared after a couple of weeks anyways, so there was no real point in it even happening. It also somewhat led to the evil Trish Stratus storyline, which was awful. So we're going to put this in C right next to Roman Reigns here. If you're wondering, the previous pictures already on there are from part 1. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I might put it up at the end of the video, but I recommend you watch that first, and then you can come back to this one. Next up, we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, Damage Control did win it back from Lita and Becky, but again, we're grouping them into one. And Liv and Raquel beat them. And I don't remember anything about them winning the belts, but I do know that they had a solid reign, an okay reign, that ended poorly because Liv Morgan got injured. Then they won it back again a little later, and it was whatever. It didn't really have much of a life to it. It was there, it was cool, it was fun, and then they lost. That's about it. So we're going to put this in B. Very mediocre. Didn't really need to happen, but I'm not necessarily glad that it did, nor am I sad that it did. Next up, we have a pretty bad reign here. We have Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. This reign, in and of itself, is, again, something I find really boring. And I mentioned this with Rhea and why she's in D tier here. How if you just have 2 people, and you have this dominant heel that you want to make look really strong, and you have this baby face that, well, they're cool, but they're kind of a jobber a little bit. No, they're not even a jobber. They're like an average tier baby face in the company. Somebody like Trick Williams, I guess. So you got Trick Williams, and you got this heel you're trying to prove. And then the heel wins in 3 seconds every week. It makes Trick look like a clown, and it makes the heel boring. And I really don't like that method, and that was all their title reign. And with the stuff that came of it, like the match at SummerSlam, I'm putting this in D, right next to Rhea. I really didn't like it. It was poorly executed and didn't need to happen. Then Liv and Raquel won it back, and then Sonya and Chelsea won it, and then Piper and Chelsea had it, and then they lost it yesterday on Raw. This is going to be posted a few days ahead, but this is being recorded on the Tuesday after Raw. So we know nothing about this reign yet. It just started. So, what's going to happen? I'm going to put it in upper B because they're a really talented duo and probably the only actual women's tag team in the company. So I think they do deserve a women's title reign. But we don't know anything yet, so they're just going to go in B for now. Next, we have the men's. Now, there's less here for the men's because the title changes hands less because nobody really cares about the women's, be honest. So they can kind of change hands a little more frequently. But nonetheless, let's get started. So we have the Usos, and this goes right up next to Gunther. It's an S tier reign. Was it a little bit long? Yeah, it was a little bit too long. But they had banger matches nearly every time, and you were pretty certain they were going to win, but they were always banger matches. And the match at WrestleMania is one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. So you got to put them up there in S. The talent between Jimmy and Jay and their chemistry together, along with the chemistry with their opponents, made it perfect. So then they lost it, as I said, in the main event of WrestleMania to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an interesting reign. This was a weird reign. Like, you got 3 people, right? And they're all in a group. And then this new guy, or you got 2 people, they're in a tag team, blah, 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 and then a new guy joins the group. He gets really popular from joining the group. But then he turns on the group. Maybe the group is bad and he's good now. And he beats up the main leader and wins a big title from them. Oh! And then the other guy's like, oh no. 1, 2, 3. He's the new champ. Woohoo! Then what? You've built just a storyline around just that group. And you can't really go anywhere from there. And that's kind of what happened with Kevin and Sami. For months, they were just kind of floundering about. Just kind of, hey, we're tag champs. Woohoo! Let's mention the bloodline every once in a while. Not even every once in a while, like every 2 weeks in a promo. That's all they did. And it was quite boring. But the reign was good enough, and it put smiles on people's faces. And again, the WrestleMania match was a banger. I'm going to put him in high B. You could argue A. I kind of want to put him at like a B plus or an A minus, so I'm just going to put him in A, end of A. But could have been better, could have been worse. Then the Judgment Day beat him, and as I said, we've already ranked the Judgment Day. They are in B here. Their reign was pretty good. The match at Payback was solid. But our last original reign, I guess, is Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, who were champs for 9 days, so I don't know what to say about this one. But I do have an issue with this style of booking. So it's happened a couple times throughout the year, and I'm not that big of a fan of it. So basically, you got this guy, who's been champ for a while, and this guy, who's aspiring to become champ, heel, face. Face finally beats the heel, gets the win, 1, 2, 3. They're the new champion, woohoo. Then like a week later, sometimes not even, the heel wins the title back and just beats the hell out of the babyface. It's a bland style of booking. It's happened again a couple of times. Most recently with Dominic Mysterio. He was North American champ for a while, right? And then Trick Williams beat him for the title at No Mercy. I think it was No Mercy. Then lost it that Tuesday. Back to Dom. And it's just not interesting storytelling. You just, oh, I won it and I lost it again. And then neither of them had another title victory after that. So, I don't really like it. But the reign and the press conference was good. But if we're solely looking at a title reign here, I'm going to put this in C. I think it was disappointing. I'll put it in mid-C. I think it was better than Becky and Lita's. But that's going to be my ranking for today. Just the tag champs will go on to mid-card because there's only like 2 of them next week. And probably finish all of them because there's not that many title reigns left because Gunther's been champ all year. Roman's been champ all year. Seth's been champ all year. It's just the U.S. title, and I think there's 2 other people. So I will see you then. Have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, the women's champs as well. Good dawn, good dusk, good whatever, and goodbye.